Good morning, welcome back. We've got an anhydrous applicator to work on today. So we've got parts ordered. It's possible they show up today, although I sort of doubt it, probably tomorrow. So we'll see how far we can get on here, but we've got a bunch of disassembly that we can do, and this first row we can keep putting a little bit of stuff back together. We did have a few parts, so we can get a little bit of it done. But yeah, that's what we're working on today. So I disassembled this boot. I took the tubes off of it. I took the beaver tail off of it. We took this little rubber spacer that goes in there out of it. It hurts me a little bit to throw these away because they're not wore out. There's life left in this. The problem is there's not enough life left in it to get us through the season. And I really don't want to have to change them in season, so I should keep this in case. I don't know. Anybody want to buy them? No, you don't want to buy them. Trust me, you don't want to buy them. Where's my new one? Let's set them side by side and compare again. Right off the bat, you can see this is totally gone. And obviously there's some wear here. This corner is worn up from what it started as. Flip. There's a lot of wear, especially right in here. You know, compared to this one, there's a lot in there, actually. This tab here is totally gone. I mean, there is significant wear on it. It just, I know how much the ones that we took off when we put these on were worn, and like this whole bottom, there was a ½ inch gone all the way across here. Now, maybe their performance was so bad when we did that was a major problem, and we shouldn't be wearing them that far. I don't know, but anyway, we're gonna put a new one on. So this one on the outside here, on this row, actually gets 2 tubes, and the reason for that, really we don't even need that anymore, but the reason for that is because this is a 15 shank applicator meant to side dress 16 rows at a time. So there's 2 hoses that go to the outside one of them puts on a full rate, or what every other row gets. One of them puts on a half rate, basically half of what every other row gets. And that's because you would then skip. There would never be an opener that would run down the next opening. So this row that runs out here gets all of its nitrogen from one side, where every other row gets half from each side. Makes sense? So you got to put an extra half on here, put an extra half on the one next to it. The math works out. It makes sense. It's not super agronomically sound, in my opinion. And since we are planting 24, side dressing 16, but this is a 15 shank applicator, I have shut the half rate rows off. We have a valve on there right here. And we just use it as a straight 15. And I do 37.5 foot passes instead of 40 foot passes. And we don't skip that outside row. So every row gets the same amount. Personally, I think that's more agronomically sound. Now it gives me a touch more compaction, especially since I'm not following planter tracks anymore. But it makes the most sense, and it's the easiest to follow, and it works. So that's how we do that, and I've been pretty happy with that for the most part. It seems to work out pretty well. So anyway, point being, I really don't need this second tube on here, but we're gonna put it on there because the hose is on here. I wanna have everything hooked up, and if I wanted to use this as a 40-foot bar and put that half rate on each row, all I have to do is open a valve, change a number in my computer, and it's done. Now, the other thing we need to put on here is these beaver tails. So this is the one that I just took off. And yeah, it does have some wear. Here is a new one. And if I set that on there, the front edge here isn't really too worn, just a little bit in this corner. It has worn some on these sides. I mean, you expect that with as much as worn off of these tabs here, both sides of that. So we're going to save these. These are still good, but we're going to put the best ones that we have on to start as new as possible. So we're going to start with a new one on here. This slides on the bottom. It's got this rubber spacer plug that I probably should not have put on until I had this in place, but it goes, it's got a, yeah, let me get it. Okay. there's that one ready to go back on. You'll notice we have this one labeled right-hand boot. There are lefts and rights depending on which way the openers face. Like, for example, see how these two are opposite? Gauge wheels on the right versus gauge wheels on the left. Those take, the parts are just mirror images of each other. So there's two different styles. Our opener on this one measures a solid 21 3/4-ish. So we've run we've run an inch off of it in a year, and we'll probably be as much or a little more next year. So we'll be down to 20 3/4, 20 1/2, and there'll be time to replace. I don't think it needs to be replaced now, but yeah. So blade's got to go on. I think the blade, maybe we should put the boot on first. Let's do the boot first. Easier to get in there. So these boots are made to kind of float and flex in there a little bit. So they're held on with that bolt that's got a spring on the back. So you don't tighten it all the way down. You kind of leave it so that it can pivot and flex like that. And it just kind of slides on the end there. And then we have this bolt. This is the pivot bolt. It's got this big rounded nub on the end, and that threads in here, but it doesn't actually thread into the boot at all. I need my wrench. Where's my, right there, 24 millimeter wrench. It just kind of fits into all around hole on there. I'll show you on that old one what that looks like. But that is what holds the boot in place. Okay, so now that's on there. I tightened that pivot bolt all the way in. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to go all the way in. And now this still floats around in there, but there's no way that it will fall off. Okay, now we can get our hoses in place. They go through this little holder and then onto our tubes here. That was way more difficult than it needed to be. Okay, this one I couldn't get on there nearly as far as I had hoped to, but we got the other one on, and the one that we didn't get on very good is the one that we don't even use, so it's okay. This is labeled 16 and 17, and that's because with a 15-row bar, but we have 2 on the row 1 and 2 on 15, so there's actually 17 lines. 1 and 17 are the 2 that are the half rates, so that's how we want it. Means most of the anhydrous is coming out this tube down here. Gets discharged in the soil there. So, all right, now we are ready for the blade. So these blades have a smooth edge and a beveled edge. It's not as apparent on this one because it's used, but the bevel is on this side. This side is flush. We want the bevel against the boot. It seems backwards to me, but that's how they recommend that they get put on. That's how they come new. That's how the drills are. It's just the way that it goes. So it goes like this. Okay. There's that. Gauge wheel. I think we should put the closing wheel arm on while we can get in there a little better. We'll start with the closing wheel arm. Alright, you can kind of see me from there. So this has a pin with a hole in it. There's a roll pin that goes through that hole. And then we have one spacer. We're going to put this in and get that spacer started, just barely. Hopefully it'll hold in place. And then this goes up in there. Oh, we're backwards. We're backwards. Don't do it like that. Don't do that. Flip it that way. Right? Yeah. Where's the... There we go. Okay. And then you got to get the roll pin slot lined up. About like that. Now, here's my roll pin. Right there. Okay, so now that pin can't go in and out. It does slide side to side some. It's got to be designed that way. We could put more shims in there to take that slop up, but it doesn't have near as much side to side wiggle as what that one does. I'll show you that in a minute, but first, whoops, let's put our wheels back on. We have modified this slightly from what it came with originally. These bolts with this big heavy cast piece on there is weight basically. The back one came that way from the factory. There's these spacers that go on this bolt right here. There was only one of them initially. We have added a second one to space them out, and we put this on there. Put the nut on the other side. I'll tighten this up in a minute, but I might have to move you to show you the front side here. The front initially did not have the disc blade behind it. It was just kind of this cast piece that would roll on the ground there, and then in order to make it a little more aggressive, to do a better job sealing in our heavy soils, we added the second blade. We flipped it around from the way that it comes from the factory, and again added a second spacer to spread them out so that it matches the back, and it makes it a little more aggressive. Throws a little more dirt, helps seal the anhydrous in just a little bit better. Now the drawback to that is when these get a little bit of wiggle in them, you can get into that washer up there. It doesn't hit the way it is now, and when it's running, it's going to be on the ground more like this, so it's really when it picks up that it's going to hit, which isn't a big deal, but yeah. So we gotta tighten those up yet, obviously. Can I do it with one hand? Not really. It's spinning my bolt. All right, so there's our closing wheel bracket, and like I said, so there's a little bit of wiggle in that, right? A little bit. There's a whole lot more on that one. That's what we're replacing those bushings for, to clean that up a little bit. Does it matter? I don't know. I don't know, but we're gonna do it. Okay, we are ready for our gauge wheel. Take this bolt off. There's a bunch of spacers that go in behind that. Very much just like a drill. All these spacers come off, put the bolt through there, put the spacers back on. And then it bolts up right there. Maybe? No, where am I wrong at? There, I got it started. Okay. This is not a planter. Ooh, that's still a little loose in there, isn't it? This is the one Brock kind of fixed up the bearing a little bit. It's better than it was, but it's still got a little wiggle to it. Don't need it to be rubbing here, super tight. Obviously, you don't want a big gap, but yeah, and that's what those shims on the back of those spacers are for, to help adjust that. So I did put a new washer on this spot because, like I said, sometimes that blade can get in there, and well, it does that. That's the old one. Did that hurt anything? Not really. It's not great for it, so I think this row is good, ready to go. We need to grease it, but we'll grease it when we grease everything at the end. On to the next one. So we're going to tear this one all apart, take everything back off like we did this one. We might not have to take the blade off, but everything else. And start cleaning it up, replace the pieces we need to. Go. Well, that turned into quite the ordeal there. Got this closing wheel arm off, and then was trying to punch out the roll pin that held this pin inside there, and I ended up getting a punch stuck and broken off and tried to drill and didn't make it, and then we had to go to the press, and eventually it popped and it went and we got it, and yeah, it fought me the whole way. This bushing is broken, but we got it out. Okay, gonna need a new roll pin on that one. Oh well. Yeah, I ended up having to take the blade off because I wanted to take this bushing out. What did I do with it? Right here it is. There's a grease zerk on there, right here, that pushes grease in, and there's supposed to be a channel that goes all the way around there so the grease can get distributed on it, but it is packed full of dirt. Like I said in yesterday's video when I did this one, there's no seals on this. There's bushing there, but there's no seal like there is up here, and so the dirt can get in there and plug it up. So we just kind of use our pick and get in there and clean that dirty grease out of that hole. Like that. Okay, we got that cleaned up and put back together. I got our arm put back on here with our new bushings in it. It's got that side-to-side play, but it's sliding in the thing, not wobbling too much. So anyway, we got to get this bolt back through our springs for the down pressure, and then our arm can go on. But it's 12:10. I'm hungry. It's lunchtime. Back from lunch here, and we're getting our next boot scraper ready to go here. You'll notice, so this one only has one tube, right? And we have a much bigger plug that we put in there. So that fits up, and it just kind of fills the void and the empty space in here. I'll show you. See, there's a lot of space in there, and we don't want that tube flopping around. These boots are designed, and these bars are designed to put on dry fertilizer as well. And so they have a different application tube than what the anhydrous does. And so this spacer just kind of takes up the space where that dry tube would be had this, if this was a dry applicator, but it's not. I just went to go put this back together, and we found another little problem here. Look at this bolt that's hiding in behind that scraper and blade when it's on there. That one's about gone. Yep, that would have been a problem. So we lose these from time to time. What happens is this bolt comes out and then either breaks off or you lose it entirely, and then there's nothing supporting this, and this big long bolt here that goes through there, this one, ends up bending, and we lose the whole thing. It's happened to me before, so tighten that one up before we put this back together. And there's row number 2. Done, back together. It went back together a lot easier than it came apart, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, I am out of right-handed boots, so either we go to the other end and start working on the left-handed side ones, or we wait until our parts come. We'll probably go down to the other end. But I need to go in the house and talk to Mom for a little bit. I got something to work on. I'll show you guys what's going on. All right, so you guys have met my mom before, right? Hi, Mom.
Hello.
Mom has, well, she retired last year, and she's looking for something to do, and she likes being in my YouTube videos. We've done some cooking stuff in the past, and then I made that stuff for Thanksgiving back then that seemed to go over pretty well, and kind of decided that we together are going to start a second channel here. So this one's on the Border View Farms page here right now, but we have started a second YouTube channel. It is called Baking Bakers, and we're going to do some cooking here. So we've already got a video live today, an intro video, so you guys can go check that one out. I will make sure the link is in the description to that second channel. We've got a couple of videos on the dock ready to go, and plan is to release them like one a week, probably on Thursdays or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go here. But Mom's getting ready to film another one for us today, yeah. So you guys get a little behind the scenes. We're professionals. Got the big old light and camera and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna be cameraman for the day here.
He's a professional. I'm a novice.
Neither of us are professionals. We're getting better at this. The video quality will go up here as we as we do make a few more of these. But Mom's going to do this one by herself. We did one together already. I did one by myself, or with the help of my boys. We're going to do wide range of stuff, everything from sweets and, you know, Christmas cookie treat type stuff to, you know, main dishes. I'm going to get stuff on the smoker like we did for Thanksgiving. All kinds of different stuff. Today,
Right.
What are we making today, Mom?
Today we are making chocolate chip muffins.
There you go. So I don't know when this one will come live on the other channel there, but be on the lookout for that. And if you have any interest in following along with our little cooking stuff, make sure you head over there, subscribe to that one. I really am counting on you guys to get us to 1,000 subscribers, and I need you to watch a few videos for this first month so that we can, you know,
Spread the word.
we can make some money over there. We need to monetize it. We've spent some money on professional camera equipment. We're going to need to pay for this somehow. So go on over and do that for us. Thank you.
1 cup of buttermilk.
Back to work. We got some stuff filmed. So check that stuff out for me if you guys would. If you like it, great. If you don't, that's fine. If you know somebody else that might like it, share the video stuff for us. Thank you. Anyway, we're back to our anhydrous bar. I don't know why these all have to be difficult. I got the roll pin out. Where's it at? Right here. Got the roll pin out just fine. That holds this pin in here, but the pin will not come out. I've tried beating on it. I can get it to wiggle a little bit, but there's definitely some wear on it, and it doesn't want to come out. So the arm is going to have to come off. We'll put it in the press over here. Let's see if I can film this without killing me or breaking that camera. My phone. Something like that. Yeah. This is not an ideal setup, but it works. When I brought this press back, we used to have this one down at Berkey, and we had an old manual one up here. I thought the hydraulic one would be better, but I'm not sure it is. Come on. Okay, that wasn't so bad. Now they come apart. Always washing. Oh, where'd the pin go? Here it is. Yeah, a bunch of wear on that. That's why it won't come out, because it just gets caught on those edges. Right there. Huh. That's why we're replacing them. Anyway, I noticed another little problem on this arm as I was taking it apart. There's a roll pin that goes in there. Look at that. It has worked its way out a little bit. Easy fix. Just got pounded in, but sort of hard thing to catch if you're not looking for it. So I'm swapping this stuff on this boot over on row 1. This one's in the best shape of all of them yet. I mean, boy, it's hard for me to change these. It's definitely got wear. There's definitely a bunch of wear here, but you can still, we still got a little bit of this piece where on these ones, that ridge is totally gone. So less wear on this one, still worn. The thickness is what really, you know, like that one there definitely comes to more of a point than what our new one does. Much wider here. So it does still have wear, but this would run for a while. Whether it would last a year or not, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and replace it because, like I said, we're going to start with all new. But if we have problems in season where some of these are, you know, the ones behind the tire tracks are wearing out or something, we'll have this one that we could throw on and have kind of a good used one. On that note, somebody did mention that in the comments that, you know, we should have more wear in the tire tracks, and that's true. However, this bar, we don't see that like we used to, even with this bar, or like we used to with our old anhydrous applicator, or like we do, you know, with planter openers and that kind of stuff. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One, we're running it on this 8RX now. we've got the tracks. Tracks definitely spread the weight out, doesn't compact the soil as much, so we don't have that hard compacted ground that we're running disc blades and stuff through like we do with tire tractors, wheeled tractors. And with wheeled tractors, you have 4 rows instead of just 2, right? 2 on each side because of the duals. So that definitely makes a difference. And then you might say, well, what about from the planter and that fertilizer cart that we're pulling? And yes, those tracks where that fertilizer tank, my pull behind cart behind my planter runs, they get compacted. No doubt about it. It's the same tracks that the tractor tracks run in, no doubt. But because we run this as a 15 row and not a 16 row, that track moves across to every row as we go through the field. It's never always in the same spot. And so we kind of wear all of them a little bit more evenly due to that. So yeah, this row and the one on the other side might show just a little bit more wear, but we really don't see too much of that because of the tracks on this tractor really spreading that weight out really well and keeping stuff from wearing. So it's not a huge issue, but like I said, if they do wear a little bit faster, we'll keep some good used parts around and be able to put those on if need be. Oh, I'm being less than productive today. I was really hoping to get that back together, and then I put this arm on backwards because I did it like the other ones, and it's supposed to be opposite. Whoops, my bad. So now I got to pull that off of there and put it back on. But Dad just called me. He must have been using his backhoe as a bulldozer again, and he's got a flat right front tire on the backhoe. So I got to go take him an impact and some sockets. 1.25 inches, he said. 1 1/8 inches, 1 1/4 inches, and go try and get a flat tire off of a backhoe. So I told you yesterday, Phil has been busy hauling grain. That's what he does in the winters, and why I don't handle any of that, because he kind of does it. It's his thing. It's what he likes to do, so he takes care of all of the grain hauling. Dad, we haven't shown what Dad's been doing. I did show you those sawhorses he made. He did that when it was not fit to be in the woods, basically. But Dad spends most of the workable days in the winter, meaning either it's frozen hard enough it's not muddy, or it's dry enough that he can be out here clearing trees off, cleaning up edges of fields and stuff. And he's got a big old project he's been working on back here. We're gonna see if we can get to him, and I'll try and show you a little bit. I haven't been back here, so he's told me about what he's done, but I really haven't seen it. So we're not too far from the farm. You can see it over there, but he's been working back around this corner, and it's getting borderline too muddy to be out here, I would think. I don't know. There's backhoe. That will be fine over here in the shade. He is trimming these trees back. He's cleared off quite a bit over there, actually. Cut some in there. Oh boy, this is muddy. Some of this stuff, he had some old piles he was trying to get burned up, and some of it he is clearing stuff back, and he's taking quite a bit off over by where the backhoe sits over there. Squaring some edges of some fields up. This wood's kind of tailed off over here, and been farming around it. We bought this a few years ago, and it's a decent farm, especially in the back over here. So if we could get it cleaned up, more farmable, that'd be awesome. Yeah, he's done quite a bit here. Gained a 1/2 acre. What a deal. We got it. Well, we got Dad's tire off. It's got a tube in that tire, so he's going to take it somewhere and have him fix it in the morning. So that's what it is. I'm going home. I know it's not that late. It's 5 o'clock, but whatever. Thanks for watching this one. Like and subscribe if you haven't here. Go check out my other channel, Baking Bakers. And we'll probably not see you tomorrow. I've got some stuff going on tomorrow. I'm judging FFA contest tomorrow afternoon, and I got somebody coming to look at the grain bin down to Berkey, I think, in the morning. So I'm going to go do that stuff, and then we'll be back Thursday to work in the shop there. And we got seed deliveries coming Thursday. Got 3 trucks of corn coming, I guess. So have a good night, everybody.